Starting today, of course, with the news across all the front pages, everybody's talking about it. Chancellor Rachel Reeves is being called to apologise after what's being dubbed a U-turn on winter fuel payments. The Chancellor said all pensioners with incomes of less than £35,000 will get the payment this winter. This is following a huge backlash over last year's cuts. Everyone's talking about this today, Janet, and a lot of the front pages, you know, saying U-turn, screeching U-turn, they need to apologise, say sorry. Do you think she should say sorry? Or not she personally, but, you know, the government?
I think there's no need to say sorry. I mean, she messed up and she's corrected it. The whole word U-turn, to me, takes me back to Maggie Thatcher and that famous line, "You turn if you want to, the lady's not for turning." Excuse that terrible impersonation. But I actually think being that rigid in your mind is not a good thing. And if you've made a mistake, correct it. And obviously, politics is a very public
But what about
arena.
they're saying, it's because we've got the economy back on track now.
Ugh.
That's why we can
Look,
now pay.
She's corrected
I mean,
it
come
because
on.
obviously it was a huge vote loser. But at the same time, I'm in the category of people who are eligible for winter fuel allowances, and I thought right from the very outset that someone in my wage bracket should never get it. Now they're saying that they're going to reinstate it for everyone, and the people that earn over, pensioners who earn over $35,000 a year will be paying it back in pay-as-you-earn tax. Now, this to me seems a terrible way of going about things because we've already got a really, really complicated tax system and already more pensioners than ever are being dragged into tax because the previous Prime Minister froze the tax thresholds. So the whole question of pensioners and tax needs sorting out anyway.
But if you chose to opt out, would the administration for that, the admin of that, cost
I think they're actually
anyway?
just going to pay it to everyone and then take it back in tax. I.e., a lot of paperwork, a lot of stuff from HMRC and a lot of people reading their, you know, pay slips and paying more tax.
So do you think you should be allowed to opt out if you don't think you should be getting it?
Well, it would be far better if you could fill in a simple form, but nothing in our tax system is simple, is it?
No,
ever. But just to carry on with this whole idea of whether a U-turn is a good thing or a bad thing and whether you should be pilloried for U-turning, I fully expect Rachel Reeves to do another U-turn on the child benefit cap. And I fully expect her, because that is equally unpopular, and I would fully expect to...
It's taken a long time.
I actually take issue with calling them U-turns, though I thought your Margaret Thatcher impersonation was very, very good indeed.
Won't win me any prizes, but...
Well, you're getting a prize from me. I know that we, you know, we're very cynical about politicians and we've got every reason to be, and credibility is particularly low. But we live in a democracy, and the whole point is that politicians listen to people's voices and then make decisions based you know, base their policies on what the public believe is the right thing. So
the public was shouting very loudly when they made the decision. It's taken them a long time to reverse it.
Well, you can't reverse anything in politics that quickly, can you? A whole system around fuel. So I just think that, you know, part of trying to get a better environment when it comes to public discourse would be, it's not a U-turn, it doesn't need to be apologised for. It's really good as an example that democracy works. That when people say, no, we don't accept that, the government listens and it changes. And I just feel like it's all part of that really negative, you know, attitude that we are encouraged to have.
We have got the result, Kelly.
It's macho politics.
I think it's great that the result has happened. Do I personally want an apology? I'm not bothered either way. But there are some people out there that have been under extreme stress since they heard that it was being cut, that have been cutting back on food, that have been cutting back on lots of other essentials to make sure that they had enough money to get them through the winter. So do they owe them an apology? 100% yes, because of the stress that you've been put on. It's actually not needed at all. Yes, you've U-turned, but how long have they been...
Not needed. I mean, it may have been necessary, and this may be an adjustment. I'm just saying that we always take the negative point of view, and we can't be apologised to every time the government does something that we don't like.
Then what are we teaching them? Because at the end of the day, I mean, this is not
they're
for
not
me.
children.
No, they're not children, but there are people. I've heard the stories. I've read the stories, and I've seen them being interviewed. They're real people with real lives who have been affected by these changes, and they've tried their very hardest to cut back their normal lives because they're waiting for this winter oppression where they're not going to be able to... They have to choose between eating and heating. So do they deserve an apology? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, my feeling is it'll be a long wait. It'll be a long wait. You don't often see politicians, do you, apologising for anything. Let's talk